So hello everyone. So just checking 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me? Maybe you could go to the chat and say yes, we can hear you. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. All righty. So hello, welcome. Fantastic. I keep seeing the messages. Thank you guys. Um, so thank you everyone. Thank you for being here. So it's a wonderful day. Whether you're in Mexico City or I heard somebody was in Sonora. We've got people from Sonora. We've got people from Veracruz, from Mexico City. Maybe you can go to the chat, and tell us where you're connecting from, right? Because there are over 100 people connected now. So Yucatan, lovely place. San Luis Potosí, Mexico City, San Luis Potosí, fantastic, right? Querétaro, fantastic. Saltillo, sorry. Playa Carmen, fantastic. Monterrey, Morelia, Michoacán, amazing guys. So absolutely wonderful. Thank you both thank you for being here today. As you know, we're running this series of webinars for you guys, and I just absolutely love every single second of it. When you're here, when you're connected, and when you're sharing your precious time with us, right? Probably you know me. I hope that you know me. I hope that you remember me. My name is Orlando Elgado and I'm the Director of Teacher Training Operations for International House University. Because we are a university, we're running first degrees, and actually as of this is going to be a surprise, but as of this year, later in spring, we're going to be launching our new program, very innovative master's degree in ELT and educational leadership. So we'll be talking about that at some point, not today, because today is devoted, to all the things that are incredibly interesting. Patricia's asking, yes, email me, Patricia, right? So anything that you need from our end, like your certificate or diploma of attendance, email me. I'm going to give you my email right here, and I will personally take care of that, right? So email me, Patricia, you've got the email right there, right? But anyway, so today I would like to introduce you to the key speaker of the day, of the afternoon today. So Rosie, I don't know, there you go. So Rosie is right there in the background, fantastic. So I would like to introduce you to Rosie Olsman. I have the pleasure of working with her, and they're running on so many different programs. One of them is the CELTA online program. I've known Rosie for quite some time right now. I'm incredibly jealous because she is giving the talk from ever so lovely Riviera Maya, like that side of the Caribbean. And I see some of you are connecting from Playa del Carmen, right? So I don't know, maybe you're just like a couple of blocks away from Rosie. And Rosie has been helping us, for a long time. She's a key member in the International House University program, delivery of, like so many things. And now she's acting as one of the key members in the CELTA online program, like I said. And because Rosie has been running online programs, for quite a long time, and definitely very actively all throughout the current COVID-19 pandemic. Today, Rosie is going to lead this talk on what I think is a very important topic. I think it's something that you're absolutely going to love, because it's something that every single teacher nowadays has to do, has to some extent been involved with, and this is creating online materials, right? So the topic of the day is creating online materials. She's going to tell us more about that topic today. So Rosie, thank you for being here today. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and the floor is yours. And guys, remember that Rose is going to give us like a very engaging, important talk, important, informative tips and strategies on how to create materials. If you do have questions, remember that you only have to go to the bottom of your screen. Remember that there's a Q&A section. It's like like speech bubbles. That's the icon. You only go there and throwing all your questions, because at the end of the talk, we'll be coming back to those questions to answer those questions and help you even more, right? Rose is going to spend some time answering those questions at the end. So any questions, go to the Q&A, okay? So thank you, Rosie, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, hi everyone. It's so nice to have everybody here. Let me just share my screen. As we do with when we are teaching online, the first thing we say, can you see my screen? Right? So that's basically what we say every time. Okay, so I would like to hear or to know a little bit more about you guys. So tell me where. I already saw that you guys are from Cancun and from Playa del Carmen and from Saltillo. I have there a good friend of mine already saying hello to me. I also saw Veracruz. I mean, really, it's so nice to have you here with us today. But I would like, this is not going to be a talk with a lot of background information, but it's going to be more like with tips. And together, we're going to make all this a little bit more engaging and enriching for everybody. So hi from San Luis Potosí and Morelia. I would like to know just quickly, what is your area of work? Are you working with little kids, with young kids, with elementary school students, or maybe high school students or university? So just tell me there in the chat. Elementary, okay, university, very good. High school, elementary, primary, okay. So that's good that today I prepare a little bit of everything. I didn't know what the areas you'll be doing, but it's good that I prepare a little bit of everything for all of you guys. Junior high and university. So we really have a variety of teachers in different areas. And basically, we all have the same problems. When we come to create materials, we have a lot of reasons why this is a little bit of a burden. But today, I'm going to help you easing off that burden. I hope that we can do that together. Okay, so let's go into this. So welcome to a webinar. It's so nice to hear from you and to know that you are spending the afternoon with us and learning and trying to see how we can grow together. So this is a little bit of a test and a little bit of a chat, so you have to tell me, your coordinator comes the first day of school and she says, or he says, you know what, you need to create engaging materials for your lesson. How do you feel? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, scared, okay, it's a challenge, yes, mostly a challenge. Scared if it's a little bit of a problem because you don't know where to go, okay? What other feelings do you have when you have this question? Shocked, oops, yeah, lots of work and overwhelmed. Yes, Dulce, new ideas to try, awesome. Sometimes difficult to accomplish, exactly. Engaging materials and stress. I got you there, yes, I know. It's an opportunity to use more authentic materials, yes, and stress, absolutely. I was feeling the same way, guys, when COVID-19 started and all of a sudden you have to come to Zoom. And you were, faced with this huge challenge of how do I keep my students engaged? And I think even after a year, we are still learning and we are still trying to get acquainted with all this situation. Thank you for sharing that, but mostly are a balance of positive feelings and somehow a little bit of like engaging feelings. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so why is it difficult to design materials? So today I'm going to share with you one of the tools that we're going to be using for brainstorming. I don't know if you're familiar with this. This is called menti.com. Have you used menti.com? I'm going to type it on the list. Oh yeah, everybody, some people are familiar. Yay, a lot of people are already familiar with Menti. Okay, so for those of you who are not, we are going to give our opinions on this. Okay, so I have to stop sharing because somehow my links don't work very nice in there. Okay, so just bear with me. Like all of us, we have there a problem there with the links. Okay, so everybody can see my screen? Yes? Give me, say yes, yes, that you can see my screen. Excellent. Very good. It's a good resource. Yes, excellent. So can you go to that page on your computer, or if you have a phone, or if you have another way to interact while you are with us in the chat? Can you go to the menti.com, use this code, and tell me why is it difficult to design materials? For example, here I have an example. We have no time. Where do I look? And accessibility. So please, would you mind sharing that with me? Those ideas, please. Okay, code 5210924, please. And then your comments will start fitting up into my computer if this is working perfectly, I hope. Is everybody there now? I will start sort of like refreshing just to be sure. Yay, very good. Everybody's starting there, putting some ideas. Excellent. Confused, yeah, time consuming. I love it. Yes, different kids, different lessons. Okay, visuals, engagement, very good. So a lot of things have to do with time, right? It's also coming out of our comfort zone. Okay, very good. Lack of experience is a challenge. Everybody's feeling more or less the same way. Thank you so much here, guys, for sharing that with me. Demanding, yay. Absolutely. I love that. I love that it's like magic, you know, when people start feeding ideas, tech issues. We will go there into the tech issues at the end of the webinar. Yeah, we're not very good with apps, and also obviously we depend on our students having access to the internet. It is also a big problem for creating materials. Excellent, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I really, really love that you guys were completely into Menti and to see how it works. Very good. Now let's go back to our presentation. Like we say, as teachers, we really have to be very good with computers, and sometimes computers are not our best ally in this. So I think the very first step is to think about my students. You were saying there that you may have different classes with different students, with different personalities. And obviously, when we think about students, we have students that have access to the internet and students that don't have access to the internet. So how can I make sure that they will all benefit from the materials that I want to design? So what are key characteristics or key features that I have to keep into account when I'm thinking about my students? Give me some information there on the chat box. 2 key elements that I have to think about my students. Very good, Maria, the age, the level, the practicality, exactly, Nancy, what they like. Excellent. Their interest, basically, how do I engage them? Personality, the context, the needs, the culture. I think is very important when we talk about culture, the cultural background, the resources that they have, exactly, what accessibility, because even though we have a lot of students, some students might not have access to the internet. The objective is very good there, Christy, and also we have to personalize. I mean, it's really crazy, isn't it? Especially when you have a huge group. How do you personalize that, right? And the subject that we are going to teach. Because not only are we dealing with English materials, but we are also dealing with math and maybe science or maybe other subjects that we teach through English. So every student is unique. And as such, we have to start thinking, how can we engage our students better? So that is the first step. One, to think about my students and all the items that we were commenting there. The learning styles, the culture, the needs, the personality, the likes, all those things that come into place in our lessons. Okay, and we have here one more comment. And the students don't have English books. Yes, that makes it even more difficult, right? How do I make sure I cover the program? And it's all on the teacher's shoulders, right? So that's why I understand your idea at the beginning that it was overwhelming. Another thing that I have to consider is to assess what is the objective of my lesson, or what unit do I need to cover? Do I need to go into reading comprehension? Can I go into listening comprehension? Or do I need to go into grammar resources, etc.? Okay. Another thing obviously would be, how can I adapt material that I already have when I was teaching face-to-face? And how can I recycle this? Or how can I adapt this to the learner needs that I have? Exactly. So in the same group, obviously we have technical problems while teaching. I think we have all experimented that. And obviously we get a little bit frustrated when things don't go according to plan. And also very important, and I think which is a very key feature here, that we have to consider whether these materials can be synchronous or asynchronous, which is, I think, the best thing, because sometimes our students don't have accessibility to the internet, so we can go and say, okay, we're going to go into an asynchronous activity, and maybe we can do it in front of them. Exactly. A lot of us have used PowerPoint. Exactly. Really handy PowerPoint. A session effective time. Absolutely, Christy. Yes. And I think never before have we used PowerPoint as we have used now, because it was a little bit like old school, and all of a sudden it resurfaced with a lot of new ideas, and you just have to make it accessible for the students. Yeah, it is easier than PowerPoint, okay? And we always need to have a plan B. I absolutely agree with you, Jaime. Yes, I know. We always have to go with the autocorrector. There is always a problem as well. So the good thing with designing materials is that we can have them handy for when we are teaching synchronous, but also when we are teaching asynchronously. Google Docs, exactly. We are going to cover a little bit of that, Marcela, in this session as well. You mentioned before, yes, I also love Kahoot as well. You used to draw a lot, Steve, but now I'm using pics from the net. I mean, it's amazing what you have and you can find on the internet. Yes. We're going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of using different ways to present information to the students. There might be so many other, and to be honest with you, I have my problems using Prezi. Maybe I'm not so good at handling technical issues. I haven't really exploited Prezi so much. But for example, I have used Canva. The good thing that Canva has a free version, and they have really a lot of sources and a lot of images, and you can make it a little bit interactive. And yes, I mean, PowerPoint is actually a great tool, but it depends also on your computer. I am using a Mac, and sometimes PowerPoint doesn't run very smoothly with a Mac, but Keynote, for example, runs very good with Macs and with other computers. But yes, is that Maria Jose, quizzes, is that similar to PowerPoint? Yes, Jaime, we can really recycle that when we go into Prezi, and they are actually there free to use, right? There's no these copyright issues to engage on. So I would like Maria Jose to tell us if that quizzes is like a same presentation like Prezi or like PowerPoint. Generally is good. Okay, quizzes is similar to Kahoot. Okay, it is like a game. All right, okay. I haven't really used that one, but you see, it is good that we are together. Yeah, I have used Emaze and I have used Kahoot, and also Kahoot has a big library of already made activities that you can use, which is great. Yeah, and Prezi is useful. Twinkle is great for elementary. Okay. I have also used Edpuzzle and Educa Play. Yes, and that's actually very good to use. Oh, you guys really know a lot about materials. I mean, you should feed more information into this presentation in a minute. Okay, oh, Padlet. Oh my goodness. We are actually going to see that in a way. Okay, very good. So we can really exploit, like you say, PowerPoint is very comfortable. If you want to experiment with Prezi or Keynote or Canva, it is also a great opportunity to do so. So the best thing of all these, like Canva and PowerPoint and Prezi, is that we really have interactive presentations. Like you say, when we have Google Slides, the students can actually interact live, right? And we can include them into the design of the slides. And I think it's very good to do. Yes, Diego, I really love Canva. Sometimes there are some technical issues because if you lose the connectivity, the changes are not saved. So it has a little bit of disadvantages, but I think it has amazing, amazing visuals. Generally, I haven't tried that one, Emma, but I suppose it should be similar as PowerPoint. Wow, I mean, I really have to take notes of all these apps because I'm really like, I always investigating new ways to teach my trainees, but you really guys have a lot of other things. Okay, so remember we can sort of like create very interactive presentations. And I would like to know if you have tried recording your presentations and how helpful has that resulted for you. For example, in PowerPoint, you can record yourself. You can also record yourself with Canva and also with Keynote. So have you tried doing that for asynchronous? Okay, in generally you can do it. Yes, it's very helpful, especially when the students cannot connect and you just send them the link and it's very useful there. Okay, it's always a little bit tricky, isn't it? Because then you expect the students to cover this in a given time and then maybe when you are recording, it takes less or more. But I think it's very useful. Exactly. So we tend to give feedback to students, but not for ourselves. Yes, you're absolutely right, Isaac. When we observe ourselves, we can actually say like, oh my God, did I actually say that live? And I didn't know what I was saying. Exactly. And we are always assuming and we are reducing the technical issues and the students will be able to have access to the content. I think we have become all very resourceful because of the pandemic and because we really love what we do and we want to get the best of our students. In Adobe Spark, you can create video presentations like PowerPoint. Nice. I'm going to take notes of all that. Exactly. Yes, Xiomara. It is a good idea to observe ourselves, to see how we are engaging students, and also to modulate our voice. At the beginning, when we started with the online lessons, my husband was telling me that I was yelling in front of the computer. So you also have to start recording your voice and see, oh, I think I'm not really doing my best. My students will go like, oh, reduce the volume a little bit. Ah, okay. What is forbidden, Mari Carmen, where you work? The recordings? Is that because of the security issues or safety for the students? Yes, Isabel, always for both. Okay, yeah. And what can you do, Mari Carmen, instead of these presentations? Is there any other way that it has worked for you? Maybe another teacher has the same? No, okay. So basically you have to do online, live, synchronous teaching, mostly. Okay, right. Well, the good thing is that we're going to help you with a lot of ideas now that can actually, most of the time, okay, yeah. Also, we also have those restrictions by schools that the students cannot go to YouTube, for example, because of the content, or they cannot go to Facebook because of the content, or to certain apps because of safety regulations, so the school will not be able to help with that. So I understand perfectly. So yes, thank you for sharing your opinions with interactive presentations. Okay, so with interactive presentations, I wanted to show you a little bit about Canva, but then my computer took me out of it. So with Canva, for example, what I like is that you can also do like embed your presentation there. And then you can also send it the same way to the students, and then the students will be able to incorporate their ideas into the presentation. So I think it's also a very good way to interact with the students. And then the students can also move together with you, so it becomes a little bit more interactive. So I really like Canva. And like I said, it has a free version. So exactly. You are right. We cannot overload the students with extra activities. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, sometimes there are teachers that they don't have access to a lot of LMS, and they have to rely on their own materials. So that's why I think this becomes a little bit more easier, a little bit easier for those teachers that cannot share, although they don't have access to the LMS. Exactly. So let me just get in there to my presentation again. Again, what happened to my presentation? It went somewhere. Sorry for this. Okay, so you can see my keynote presentation again, because I sometimes rely too much on my computer. Flipgrid, I think I have seen that one. Yes, I haven't really tried too much. Like you say, sometimes it's overwhelming, the amount of resources and the amount of information that we have. So it is better to, I mean, I try to stick to very few, so I can really rely on all of them and do not depend too much on one. So it is useful for me. Yes, I agree with you, Maria Irma. It's nice to be able to record videos and to see ourselves. And it is good that you guys mentioned Padlet. If you have used Padlet, you cannot deny that it's a great tool. One of my favorite ones is the timelines. I wish I would have students that would love to learn about the dinosaur time periods, because this timeline is amazing. If you have used Padlet, I would like to hear your opinion on how much and how good can you exploit Padlet. Also those, yeah, we can do our own Kahoots, yes, and that you can also create challenges, and it creates that competition, right, in the students. It's a little bit like gamification, because they are learning while they're playing games. You're absolutely right, Jaime. Not always do we have the opportunity that the apps work on cell phones or tablets or operating systems. Exactly. You can also make a student's blog, yes, and to, oh, look at that, Beatriz. I never thought that we could use Padlet to make bulletin boards, exactly. I think Padlet is great for all kinds of lessons, exactly. And it's, you know, like live, and you can really have like long and long boards. It's like really having when you go to schools and then you have these welcoming boards with a lot of information. I think Padlet is a little bit like that. You can record audio, video, and screen. Yes, absolutely. And you put them as a reminder. So it becomes a little bit an asynchronous and synchronous opportunity. Yes, Jaime, I think, like I was telling you, those murals when you go into schools when we were face to face, I think I see Padlet a little bit like that. I also use it a lot for when I am training my CELTA students, We also use it for feedback. We use it for writing lessons, and we use it for a variety of oh, you upload your videos on YouTube. Wow, Steve, what is your specialty, Steve? What can we see on your YouTube channel? It's very nice, I know. I mean, I am a little bit self-conscious, so I will be a little bit, let me just write your name so I can find you. Steve Serrano. And Steve, what kind of videos are those? What do you normally upload? What kind of lessons? Functional English, wow, that's nice. I'm going to find you now on YouTube, so I can also share your ideas with my students. Lovely, lovely. I think as teachers, I mean, like I said, I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious when it comes to being on video, but now we are really doing everything on video, right? Even if we are self-conscious, we have to forget that and then just get with the flow. Yes, we have to charge Steve for publicity. No, of course not. Exactly, but I really love Padlet. And it's very friendly for the teacher and for the students. I think it has a lot of very nice ideas. And someone mentioned blogs. I think one way to exploit Padlet is also with blogs, because normally students don't like to write. And normally we don't have a lot of time to write activities when we were doing face-to-face sessions. But now, thanks to this, we can do a lot of activities asynchronously, and we can also use blogs. This is a blog that I created with one of my groups, and we were obviously revising some of the grammar that we had seen in the lesson, and then they have to create their own blog, that what if COVID hadn't happened. And if you can see here is a blog post with upper intermediate IH students. So I think it's also nice for them, you know, to really get away from what they're doing and become writers. So it is a very nice activity to do. Exactly, they can write opinions, they can rate them, yes, and they love it, yes. Padlet also has a free version. The free version allows you to have, I think, 4, but you also have access to other Padlets that have been done by other teachers. And the materials that you find there are amazing. I mean, these of the dinosaurs, I really loved it. They have one also about the stars and the solar system. They have also for history. I mean, book reports. You can do a variety of things. I really like it as well. And the students, I think, is very accessible, and they can do it synchronously and also asynchronously. So I think that is a big advantage here. So I really like the fact that you guys are familiar with Padlet. I love it as well. Now, sometimes we don't know what to do when we want to present graphic information to the students. And then, yes, I know PowerPoint is a great thing, but we can also teach our kids to make infographics. You can do infographics, I think, with Prezi. You can also do it with Canva, and you can also do it with PowerPoint. I mean, you just need to distribute the information a little bit in a different way. So have you used infographics before? Have you asked your students to create their own infographics? Do you think it's a very nice idea to do? Yes, it's like a poster, right? But with very key information, we can recycle language, and they can become a little bit creative into designing their own infographics. Yes, and yes, the 10 readers of the month. Whoa, that's very nice, Christy. Yes, and they can work together, writing information about a topic. Yes, Pictochart. Okay, let me just write that one as well, because you guys are full of resources, more than me. Exactly, Nelson. It is a good way to present information and it becomes a little bit more digestible. Exactly. It is creativity. Thank you for sharing there, Nancy. Pick the chart. Okay. Wow. Powtoon. Help you make nice cartoon videos. Wow, Jaime, you are really knowledgeable about all these resources. Powtoon. I'm also going to write that. It looks like I am doing the webinar, but you guys are giving me a lot of ideas. I love it. Maybe next time I will do the same webinar and I would say, thank you to my attendees from this course. I have now this variety of ideas. Thank you so much for sharing and for building to this community of resources. So for those of you who are struggling to find ideas, and if you find that it was overwhelming, now obviously it is a good idea to do this kind of information. I love infographic as well because I'm very visual and I think it becomes a little bit more attractive to recycle information and to promote a little bit project-based learning. You can assign a topic with a kind of a recycling language and the students will be able to work in teams and present their ideas in an infographic. Excellent, I really like these guys. Now, some of you were already mentioning about what to do when you have to recycle some language and you do Padlet and you do Kahoots, but what kind of activities are the most difficult to find or create materials for? For example, if you have to do for grammar or if you have to do for reading, so which ones will be the most difficult? Oh, for speaking. Yes, Emma, I agree with you. For listening comprehension, yes, for speaking. Okay, speaking definitely. Yes, Yamara, I agree with you. It's important to move from the comfort zone. But as I can hear and I can see here, you guys have mostly problems with listening and speaking. Okay. I was thinking that more like grammar, but you guys are really going to the next direction. Speaking and social studies. Okay. Now we are going to see breakout rooms, listening and speaking. Yes, I love breakout rooms. I think Zoom became like the number one tool to do speaking activities. Grammar and reading, I agree. Projects, okay. Excellent, yes. I agree with Jaime, okay. Google Teams have them also. Wow, very good. But I think it's more expensive, no? I mean, if your school doesn't have Google Teams, I don't know the cost benefit in the end. Exactly, yes, it depends a little bit on the cost as well and what the school is sort of like providing for the teachers. Okay, now good to know, good to know. Maybe it is something that we can try also, Teams. So yeah, like you say, sometimes grammar practice is a little bit difficult to find tools or to create. Remember, we're not trying to find, but we're trying to create our own. And when we create, we make a pool of ideas. Exactly, Isabel, role plays. This is important to do. And when we do breakout rooms, we can actually break a little bit from the individual work and then go into the role plays. Exactly. Speaking is difficult to do it in that way, but there are other ideas, Mari Carmen, and we're going to share that in a minute. Okay, so we're going to help you on what we can do with a phone to have those speaking activities. So going into that, when we're talking about grammar practice, and I think you're very familiar with the Google Suite. For example, when you have the Google presentations and the Google Docs, these are very handy to have interactive materials that can be done asynchronously, but also synchronously. So I know like this also became our lifesaver at the beginning of the pandemic, because that was the only thing we could rely on in the meanwhile we were finding other sources. I love Jamboard because I am the kind of teacher that always wants to write something, you know, in the time that I think about it, I want to write something on the board. And Jamboard has become my interactive board. And there's so much things that you can do with Jamboard. I love Jamboard, but I think sometimes I use it too much. I don't know, what do you think? Do you like Jamboard as me, or do you think it's overrated? Yeah. Okay, you use the chat instead of Jamboard. Okay, yeah, presentations are good. I also use it to explain, like I say, just because I want to have like a board. Exactly, collaborative work, I love it because you send the link and then the students can work together and you can have a board. Oh, nice. There are other interactive boards. I know there are a lot of apps where the students can do also brainstorming and they can do like a board, like if it would be a physical board. And obviously the Google Forms. Okay, Teams, okay, there is something that maybe we can try. Exactly, you can have evidence of what we're seeing in class, Jaime, I agree with you. And also it is there for you to recycle for a future lesson. And the presentations with Google are very interactive, yes. Okay, so you use it with songs, nice, very nice. Okay, Jamboard is addictive a little, I know, that happens to me, Isaac. I agree. But yeah, the good thing is that we have done a lot with these Google Suite materials. They're very accessible, easy to use, and quite useful. Yes, for writing activities as well, if we don't want to go to Padlet, we can just do it there with Jamboard, and you can have as many boards as possible. Again, it's something we have to learn, right, in the process. So basically, when we are trying to create activities, I know that it sounds a little bit strange to say that you have to make learning fun, but we are competing with a lot of interruptions and with a lot of distractions. If learning becomes a little bit like, you know, like not very attractive, the students will be doing other things rather than paying attention in the class. Okay, you can also use it for explaining grammar. Yes, Maria Esther, thank you for sharing. So the good thing of creating our materials in these apps or with these resources is that you can recycle the activities. You can also, yes, Steve, I agree, we have become entertainers. You can recycle language. It can be done asynchronously. There's no excuses. I have no internet. I cannot connect to the lesson. So it is there for them. And the learners can get hands-on practice instead of lecturing. It becomes a little bit more like a dynamic process. You can reuse for all the lessons. You can make little adaptations and then sort of like use it again. And you can design tasks for homework and they are still learning. I'm going to share something that I don't know if you'll be familiar with this. Let me just check. Can you see my screen with a word wall? Yes, always make sure that the teacher leaves all the instructions and materials clearly written for the students. Yes, I don't know if you're familiar with word wall. Word wall is great for activities. Thank you, Emma. Like grammar, you can recycle, you can do matching, you can have quizzes, and it's a little bit like Kahoot, but I mean, Kahoot might have a little bit more like, okay, yes, very good. Vocabulary and spelling, okay, very good. And remember, if you have specific questions about one of the apps that all of you have been mentioning, make sure that it goes into the QA, okay? So then if you would like to have an answer in particular, you can ask us there. So with WordWall, I will put the volume down. So the good thing is that you can have a lot of activities that become a little bit interactive, you know. I like this one because there is a timer. And when the students finish, they can also get assessed. So, and they can do it as many times as they want. And it is very useful for grammar, for vocabulary, for quizzes, for, you have maze, you have really a lot of activities that we can use for grammar. And they can decide what kind of game they want to play. Absolutely, Viridiana. I think it's a very nice tool. I have used it a few times. Obviously, when you're doing online lessons, it is very useful, but I think it's also useful as a homework or as an extension of the homework. So I love this one, drags and drop, because then the students can be checking if they really are being successful or not. Exactly, yes, you can do only 4 activities in the free version, but you can erase them and you can use them again. That is the only problem, that if you have the free version, you cannot recycle the activities. I haven't really checked the cost. I don't know if it's expensive, but I have Padlet and I'm paying for Padlet. And I love it. I think it's well, the money is well used. 90 pesos per month or 9. Okay, yeah, 90 pesos. Well, it's not really expensive, but I know we are teachers and if we have to be paying for resources, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming, but it saves our life, really. It makes teaching a little bit more interactive. So I think it's great to have additional ideas for other activities. A little bit like Kahoot. I think Kahoot also has a free version and you can also recycle all the materials. With WordWall, you can also use resources that have already been stored by other teachers and you can use them as well, like you do with Kahoots. Yes. And okay, remember that the questions that you have will be answered at the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's move on here. Okay, so what happened to my presentation? It took me again to the WordWall. Okay, so yeah, I am stuck in that WordWall now. Let me just move on to the next slide. Okay, yeah, the Kahoot free version is amazing. I agree with you. It is really, really nice. Let me just move on from here because I'm stuck with this presentation. Okay. Technical issues when you are teaching synchronously, right? That's basically the issue. Okay, so now when we have to do vocabulary recycling, one of my favorites is categories. I used to place categories with my students on face-to-face lessons, but this one is also a great tool. It is called categories online. You can do a lot of vocabulary recycling. Okay, so thank you, Irma, for sharing that, the Kahoot. Yes, I think Kahoot is really nice. And there is a question bank. I also love the videos. And Cambridge has also uploaded some activities for the students that are doing exams. For example, the movers and the flyers, and they also some activities in there. But this, like I say, this is like categories. It's a little bit fast because you only have like 2 minutes to come up with ideas that will go into each of the letters. It is like a game that we played when we were kids in Mexico. I don't know if you're familiar with this. In English, it's called categories. Categories, and it actually allows you to recycle. Yay! It is called Basta. Yes, and I mean, in preparation for this webinar, I was playing this, and I was just hooked. I was like, play again, play again, play again. It is addictive as well, and the students can sort of like recycle language and think. You only have 2 minutes to come with a word for each of these. So I really like it. I think it's nice to go into this. Live worksheets, we can transform our worksheets into interactive. Okay, very good. Is that an app, Marie Jose, or is that also part of a specific, this one for the, I will tell you the name of this one for the Q&A, okay? So I will give you the name of the platform so I don't get into the link. I will share it with you in the Q&A, so don't worry. Okay, so there are other ways, because you say that you can use videos, and now we know that Steve has videos there, but we can also have activities connected to the videos. I think it is a great source of information. For example, you can have the TED Ed videos. Normally they come already with a topic, and you already have, yes, Maritza, you have a question. You can put it on the Q&A, please. Because I cannot really see who's raising the hand, but I think if you have a question, just put it there in the Q&A and we will go. Oh, it's a website. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing there. Yeah, TED Ed are great because you choose a topic and they give you normally, they give you already a questionnaire, they give you a video. So it is really, it solves your life when you really are running out of ideas. You have YouTube videos. A lot of people like Steve have come to create their own educational videos, and they are really amazing for students. If obviously they have these issues, like some of you were commenting about not having access to YouTube because of safety regulations, well, maybe with the permission of the parents, the students can still go into the YouTube videos. I don't know if you have seen Google Art and Culture. These are also great because the students can go into museums. They have live, the students can go virtually into a museum. For example, into the Louvre Museum, they can go and explore paintings. You can also upload your YouTube video in the classroom, yes. And you can also upload it in your presentations. You can also upload it into Padlet. And there's so much you can do now with this. Yes, it is similar to Google Expeditions, Emma, and I also love it. I think it's a great source of information when we are recycling art and we want the students to do something with it. And kids like the British Council for Kids, yay, I haven't tried that, but I have seen some activities. I think they are also good and they are quite interactive as well, right? I have also checked National Geographic Kids. They also have some amazing footage. They have great activities like the Nat Geo television, but they brought it now to the classroom, and they also have like worksheets that you can use while the students are watching a video. So it is, I think it's also nice that the students have access to this myriad of resources that we needed to do now because of the pandemic. Maybe when we are on face-to-face, we don't have the same opportunities to engage into so much content as we do now. I was exploring some of these channels, and for example, this guy, Joe Hansen, he has amazing videos, and he calls it "It's Okay to Be Smart." He has a lot of videos like from nature, science, math. You know, if you really are running out of ideas, and if you cannot share the video with the students, you can watch it yourself and then get ideas from him on how to make creative materials, or you can also download the pictures, you can create your own materials following what he has to say. There's also a group of people that do Veritasium. It's mostly about, again, it is about science and it's about technology, but they also bring you the videos with some activities that you can use in the classroom. So I explore this, having a little bit of, you know, provide you with some ideas for videos, but I know there are plenty of educational videos on YouTube and on the web. Now we just have to click and then we will find a lot of things. These guys are very funny. It's called the Crash Course. It's very quickly, they explain things like in 10 minutes. Crash Course is amazing. Yes, I have used it a few times and it's just beautiful. And it's very cool, yes. So if you're running out of ideas, make sure that you go into these guys, and they are like actors. I mean, really, really great. I really enjoy. I was watching one about the space and exploration, and it was really amazing. So you never know. We have a lot of ideas there. Now, obviously, we are running a little bit out of time, but what if everything fails? What do we have if technology fails? We can have access to videos. My internet is very weak and I can only share very few things. What can I do when everything fails? What do we have? What can we do? We can share the link in the chat. Very good idea, Jaime. We can use the chat. Okay, very good. Breakout rooms for speaking activities. Someone asked about speaking activities a while ago. The students, there is an app that you can download on your phone, and it is memos. It is called Voice Memos. And with this, you can ask students to record themselves, and then they can share, they can sort of like share with you the audio. WhatsApp audios are also great when you want the students to do something. Pre-planning for eventualities, yes. Vocaroo, is it similar to voice memos, Nancy? To share audios? Okay, yes, you can do a backup on the smartphone. Roku, yes, I know Roku, it has a lot of PBS educational materials, yes. So the students can actually also record themselves, you know, they can record videos. Nancy, there you have it, it's called Vocaroo. And then you can ask the students to record themselves. Yes. But the idea is, guys, if I am running out of ideas, I can always have Realia, right? So I can have puppets. I can ask my students to do TikToks if it's allowed, because in many areas, it is not allowed for kids that are under 13 years old because of the safety regulations. But you can have these little things that go back to the 80s, or I don't know when we were using hand puppets. You can use all the kinds of puppets. For example, if you want to have an idea about teaching the penguins, or you don't have access to the videos, then you can keep the students interested by showing something. Or you can have real items, okay? So if you want to talk about prehistory, or you can talk about all the things, there are a lot of things that you have in front of you that can help you, you know, still have that interaction with the students, and you can go back to basics and never run out of ideas. Yes, Christy, tell me about it. Stuffed animals as class pets. I think especially now, because of the social distancing, we need to become more aware of how we can be closer and feel closer to the students. A rally, I love that, and I have done it. And obviously it keeps them also on their feet, right? Because they're sitting all the time and they're in front of the computer. So, and then you have a competition. And what do you do after the competition? You give them badges, right? And you can also create your own badges on the internet. You can do your own, like Christy was saying, the infographics, become a little bit your student of the month, a milestone for your students. Exactly. So sometimes we rely too much on technology and we forget that we are teachers. And as teachers, creativity never ends. Exactly. You can use a whiteboard and elicit and write. I love that. I mean, I am a teacher like that. I'm a back to the board writing teacher that I need to use, you know, their ideas of the students and write themselves. Exactly. So you have a lot of sources at home that you can use to get the message across. You can also go on top of a chair. Yes, you also have this with Zoom. you know, the white board, when you have to recycle things and you want to have interaction with the students. I think that's very useful as well. So I believe that together we have created a pool of ideas that we can write here at the end in the chat box, because we mention a lot. So if you can just write some of the apps that you mentioned, so everybody can benefit from these apps. So for example, we have Padlet, we have Vocaro, we have Genially, okay, we have WordWall, Canva, okay, very good. And then some of you mentioned Peer Deck, okay, Nearpod, excellent. Thank you for sharing, so everybody can have a variety of tools. Flipgrid, okay, I love that one too. And also, I love Menti also. I like it. Write and improve, okay. We have Edpuzzle, I also have used that one. StreamYard, okay, Common Lead, Bamboozle, oh my God, I mean, really, how much resources do we need? Live worksheets, I like that one as well. Very good. Yes, so thank you for sharing. I think we have created a very nice community and a very nice pool of ideas for everybody to share. Like I was saying, I was giving the webinar, but you guys were teaching me a lot. So thank you so much for being there, for being resourceful, for never giving up, and for trying to do the best for your students. I hope that you enjoy this. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A, and then Orlando and I will make sure that you have fixed them, okay, that you have your answers there. Okay, so are there any Kahoots for Key and PET certifications? I have only found Kahoots for the lower level, you know, for young learners. I haven't found for Key and PET, but I think the British Council has some activities there for this. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm also learning with you guys. I mean, you guys were an amazing crowd. You were teaching me more than I was teaching you. So thank you for that. And I will post the name of that app for the categories. Okay, so let me find it, and then I will leave you with Orlando for the Q&A.
Thank you for that, Rosie. Thank you for that. All righty, guys. So let me just turn my, there we go, right. So thank you, guys. I hope that you really enjoyed the time that we had with Rosie. We would love to stay here for longer, but there's only so much time, in your day, and we're pretty sure you're busy, and we don't want to take, too much of your time, right? But I really hope that you found everything that Rosie presented useful. There are so many different apps, right? And there are so many different resources that we could use. And I think, that's basically just a little bit of what we wanted to show you. If you are interested, so I'm just going to give you some, information and something that we prepare for you. But Rose is coming back, so don't go. Rose is coming back to answer your questions in the Q&A. So if you got any questions that maybe were not answered in the, in the presentation, through the webinar, and you'd like to know more about any of those things that maybe Rosie talked about, or you have any other question related to the topic, go to the Q&A right now and ask your questions, right? So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, right? But in the meantime, when you ask us questions, if you felt interested in, in some of the topics that Rosie discussed, remember that we have this teaching online course. We just took a little bit of, what the course actually helps people achieve and do. this is, like an innovation. It's something, that we just come up with. We came up with that quite recently, during the COVID-19, I'm sorry, first wave last year. I don't know how many waves there are right now going on, but we came up with this last year. And if anybody's particularly interested in like knowing more about like online teaching and useful resources, and also, today Rosie talked about the differences between asynchronous and synchronous learning, right? So, one thing is doing live sessions like right now with your learners, and another thing is actually like coming up with like entire courses online, like different resources for like online work and synchronous, like on Edmodo, the Google Classroom, and other different LMSs, right, like learning management systems. So that's a little bit of what you get to see, what Rosie discussed today. It's a little bit of what you get to see on the whole of the course. So if anybody's interested, in this course, we'll talk about asynchronous learning, how to design like different, sections, on asynchronous courses, course design, considerations that you need to take into account when you're designing courses online, asynchronous, but also how to run sessions live online, different apps, like different, like principles when you're running classes online on Zoom. You also get to watch like sample lessons, taught by expert trainers, like CELT and Delta tutors, teaching online, like real learners on Zoom. So if you also want to see what an experienced teacher does online on Zoom for synchronous teaching, it's also something that you can get on this course, right? So if anybody's interested, this is our teaching online course. You can just let us know. You have my email, and also you can go to the website. I'll show you the website in a second. But if you are interested in taking CELTA, we have a webinar actually earlier in January with our friends from Cambridge. And we are actually also offering the teaching online course for free if you sign up for CELTA Online, right? So I just wanted to also remind you of that. Anyway, if you're interested, you have, I'm going to post a link, right? But you have this option that you could take, right? And I guess we could go to the Q's and A's. Rosie, I think some people, some questions, you've already answered those questions typed, but I don't know, maybe you could also answer those to the public. So
yes, someone mentioned Classcraft. I have used Classcraft. The free version allows you to have some quizzes. It's a little bit like a treasure hunt. I think it's very, I have seen it. I have not really used it with students per se, but I think it can be very enriching, especially for teenagers, because when you are interested of gamifying your lessons in your classroom, it can actually give you, it has a lot of potential. Now, I have created Jeopardy as well on that word art. You can also have Jeopardy kind of games. There are a lot of activities that you can do in word art. Class marker, you can use it for quizzes. Someone was asking about children, teaching kindergartners. I don't know if you're interested in finding like, I don't know, like stories, or what kind of materials are you looking for? Yes, you can make Jeopardy in PowerPoint, but let me share with you, there is a very nice tool that is online for kindergartner, and that is called Books. I don't know if you're familiar with this. What is nice about Books is that you also have a free version, and you can have a lot of animated books. You can have a library, and you have stories for kids that are a little bit interactive. You can also have worksheets, like you show the students the book, and then you can also have activities for them. So that is called Books. And there is only in English. There's no Spanish materials there. And it's really enriching. I mean, you could try. I have used it because I love storybooks. But it's really nice. So if you want to see this one, someone was asking about kindergartner material, so you can use this. And Orlando has already sent you the teaching online program. You can design ebooks for kindergarten. That's a flip snack. Yes, if you really have a lot of creativity, you can also do that yourself in Flip Snack. Thank you for sharing that, Jaime. Okay, and there wasn't any version of books but for teenagers. I have only seen books, Xiomara, up to 12 years old. But I think for teenagers, you can better try the YouTube channels and the TED Ed. And also the virtual tours with the Google Arts and Culture. I think they're very helpful. So I hope that we have answered all of your questions. Oxford?
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Yes, what about vocabulary and grammar for children? I think you can also do this with Kahoots. Some sites of activities to make students talk more. Well, to talk more, basically the teacher has to do a lot of engagement before, via presentations. You have to create your own activities and sort of like draw information from there. We have to be more engaging than normal to get them to speak. Thank you for sharing that about Oxford, Maria Irma. I don't know if we have another question there.
No, I would just like to make an addition to the question that we got on the Q&A. So Elsa asks, may I have some sites or activity suggestions to make students talk? I don't know, Elsa, if you've checked the Speak and Improve from Cambridge. It's quite a useful app. Well, I mean, I think website, I guess. No, it's not an app, it's more of a website. I don't know if you've used that, Elsa, but it's from our friends of Cambridge, and it's kind of like, let me just show it to you, to people that came to the webinar by Cambridge. It's, as part of a research program, from our friends, from Cambridge English. And basically, it's kind of like artificial intelligence, so that you can help your learners practice and like get some immediate feedback. So it's actually quite useful. So I don't know, that's something that you could try, Elisa, right? Fantastic. There's another question in the chat, Rosie. Mariana is asking, how would you really evaluate your students, considering they help each other? I don't know, I think, are you referring to online evaluation, Mariana? I don't know if you have some thoughts, Rosie.
Well, basically, when we do assessment, I think that is also what do you want the students? What are you assessing in that case? There are also a lot of materials that you can find online. For example, with Canva, you also have report cards. And there it becomes also virtual, and somehow you have a record of what the students are doing. So now, if they're helping each other and if they are online, we have to be a little bit objective, mostly with what we want. If you are going to do teamwork, then you better assign a grade for the overall result. And then they can do peer evaluation as well. So as to check who is helping who and who's doing all the work. So you can do 2 evaluations in the end, one as a group and one for peer peer checking. Someone was saying about listening. TED Ed is a very good source for listening because then you also have the activities added to it. So, and they're very nice and engaging activities. So I'm really, I hope that you can put all this into practice soon. So yeah, TED Ed education has very nice materials, and also Nat Geo for Kids has very nice videos with activities.
Nat Geo, let me for kids, right? Because
Nat Geo for Kids, yes.
Yeah, because actually somebody is asking about that. Alejandro is asking, she's teaching kindergarten, and she's saying like, their attention span is very short. So
yeah, you can try books, Alejandra. Books like I showed you a while ago is really nice because the characters move in the story. So it's actually very nice. I have seen a few stories and they're just amazing for kids.
Fantastic. All right. So all like really good, like engaging suggestions. I think definitely people are doing like lots of different things now online, Rosie. So
I know. I mean, and quite resourceful. I guess we just have to find, not really like overwhelming ourselves either with a lot of
yeah,
materials, but then find one or two that we feel more, like we can use it, that we don't have to struggle too much, and that is accessible and that really doesn't require a lot of your time. Because if we have a lot of groups, it can be really frustrating.
absolutely, absolutely, right. So well, so I think we've answered pretty much all of the questions from the floor. And so thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you very much for your time, for spending also the evening with us and giving us all of these really good suggestions, really good ideas. I had no idea there were like so many things that like people now are using. So it's just very exciting to see that we are actually on the same page, and outside, out there are lots of different resources and ideas that people can try. And like you say, it's not about overwhelming decisions, but it's about like strategically deciding what to use, right? So thank you very much, Rosie. And guys,
Thank you,
so
everybody.
no, thank you very much, Rosie. And guys, so remember that we're always looking for feedback, right? So before you go, if you could maybe, like again, spend, give us just a couple of minutes of your time. What we would like to do is, we would love to get some feedback from you. Remember that we're doing this because, we think it's important to keep you engaged, to keep you connected with, basically, all the people, all the teachers, all the professionals in the field, and also because, we just simply enjoy spending our Thursdays with you guys, right? Even if it's just like twice every month, right? So, but in order for us to create a more engaging, more webinars, more engaging topics, like even more webinars that could give you like lots of ideas, we would love your feedback. I'm going to post the link to this survey. So if you could just, like give us, literally just 3 minutes of your time while you're still connected right now, right here, we will truly appreciate it, right? So go to the chat box, and in the chat box, you're going to find the survey. We just want you to tell us what you thought of Rosie. Is there something that maybe you think we need to improve? Do you feel that this was informative, helpful? And more importantly, do you think this helped you feel more confident about your teaching? I think that's what Al Hard were interested in, right? Like how we can help you and how we can develop our teaching skills moving forward. And the last question is, what other English language teaching topics would you like to get from us, right? We are going to be running this series of webinars all the way up to June. And then we're going to pause just for a month to collect all of the data from the webinars. And then we're going to renew this series of webinars. We're coming hard, after the summer with like International House University webinars season 2, but we need to know what you want to get for that second season. So go ahead, go to the, again, go to the chat. And if you could just give us 5 minutes of your time, right? And in the meantime, while people give us feedback, remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you go to the media room, you only have to go to our website, our media room. That's the website. I'm going to post it in the chat as well. But if you go to our website, our media room for the university, you'll see that, we're running all of these different webinars all throughout the year. We have all sorts of different things. Stay tuned. We have our next webinar, February the 25th. And that is also on how you can engage your learners online for student-centered collaboration in the online environment, right? So stay tuned. Here is a chat. Sorry, here's the link in the chat box. And if you also go right to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, let me just show you. You'll find our YouTube channel. It's right here. You only have to click here and you'll be able to subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Where, you know, you have all of basically the previous webinars from this season, right? So subscribe, because every single time you need to be notified about the new video, you'll get an immediate alert, right? So click on subscribe, and who knows, maybe one day when we get like 1 million subscriptions, we can monetize it. I don't know. That was just a joke, guys, right? But anyway, subscribe, and we will be absolutely delighted to hear from you in the future, right? So thank you once again. That's all for today. Thank you, Rosie. It was absolutely, you know, great to have you on the webinar today. And again, you know, stay tuned, stay safe, wear your masks. Remember, you know, wear your masks, social distance, and stay tuned, you know, and see you in 2 weeks from now. Okay.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye, Rosie.
Bye, Orlando.
Bye-bye. Just to answer your question, so people are asking about the attendance. Remember that if you're here, it's because you logged in, you know, and we got your username, your email, so you're getting the attendance diploma in 1 week from now, okay? But if you do need anything, remember, contact me. You have my email right there, okay? Thank you, guys. Goodbye. Lovely to see you again. Bye.